Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Wherever you are in the world, welcome once again to another session of Living World of Darkness. This is a scene for the vampire venue. We open up once again in the halls of Elysium. As folks are filtered in and out as necessary, the kindred of New York City are welcomed into the grand theater by the ghouls of the owner of the place. The Elysium tonight is fairly quiet, and for once, clans don't seem to be sitting with clans. Rather, the heads of each major coterie and effort have separated themselves from each other and are standing around waiting for those whose skills they intend to use to take a seat with them. Standing in the center of the stage is the prince and the seneschal, and in front of them, the neonate liaison. Elysium is quiet tonight and fairly tense as everybody makes their way in and takes their seat.
Well, Caesar, as he arrives at Elysium and seeing all the shining and quiet faces, well, take a spot out of the way of everybody, but near a cluster of Nosferatu. If um, ooh, if Rex is nearby, or let's see, or Craig, he may basically try to catch up with them. But other than that, he'll be ready for tonight's little meeting.
Yeah, Rex probably isn't too far off, and he'll will greet Caesar with a nod. Now that they're on much better terms.
Yes. And Caesar actually present his hand and simply say, "Congratulations."
No, he'll take it firmly and give it a shake. Thanks, man. It's been a hell of a ride.
So, you've been doing good work. So you earned it.
He just gives him a nod. I won't make you roll for it, but he's bad at taking compliments. but you know he's trying.
Like I'm assuming you'll be dealing with, as far as the Order of the Prince, with more on hand things within the city. I wish you the best of luck.
And you as well. Which coterie did you end up joining?
I'm part of the social cast.
Interesting choice.
And he kind of puts up his hands in a mild surrendering gesture. It's still real skills I really only have, despite he kind of waves at himself. My disposition.
So, you guys come across anything interesting?
Our first plan of attack is making sure that we have control of the blood. We're going to have a little soiree involving some medical communities, and hopefully we can get a start there.
Respect.
I'll do my best not to interfere with anybody else and give them the best advice I can to hopefully be as effective as possible.
Sounds like y'all doing good work. I like it.
It's just talking right now. Until we do it, I can't say much.
if shit goes south, you got my number?
And he'll actually say, it's like, no, I don't.
He reaches into his coat and pats around some, and eventually he'll find his phone, and we'll work to exchange numbers with Caesar.
And he'll do it. Said, no muss, no fuss. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Always looking to get my hands dirty.
And he nods to that. And Caesar will kind of turn his head kind of back and forth and kind of in a little bit of a mild whisper. Does this seem odd to you?
What you mean?
This place seems unusually quiet compared to the last times we've had Elysium. I don't know, this feels off.
I think it's got something to do with the war. I don't see a lot of fighters here. He tries to stay on the more quiet side.
Well, it'd be best if they aren't here that they're preparing themselves. If not, this could be a problem. There are already so little of us as it is.
Well, once we get more from the info team, we got a better plan of attack. Fight smart, not hard.
True that. Were we able to use in the artifacts that we're able to gather from my little excursion?
Huh?
So were we able to collect anything major from our little excursion before?
He scratches the back of his head for a second. Nah, not that I can. Nah, nope.
Sorry I have to ask you like that. That statue from that day, my memory's been always a little fuzzy.
Yeah. I don't know. All the stuff we found, I don't know, it's not of any use anymore.
Yeah. Caesar nods. All right. Well, I won't hold you up. And he'll begin moving away.
Rex will give him the nod and sharply turn his head and go, "Oh shit, is that Mitchell?" As he forces Max to come into the scene.
I have my mouth full of food. God damn it. Mitchell is somewhere in Elysium. Kind of just minding his own business. He does not do well in these kind of gatherings.
Rex,
Not his people.
Rex physically gets up and walks over to Mitchell, rolling his shoulders and whatnot. When he finally gets there, he offers a hand to shake and he says, "How you doing?"
Takes the hand, shakes it. No, all right. It's just gatherings like this. I can't deal with them.
Not much one for crowds myself, but you know.
I mean, I can handle a crowd. It's just this crowd. You've been doing anything else since our last talk?
Nope.
Yeah.
Rallying
Me
the
neither.
troops. Looking for, and he like looks around for a second. Fucking Craig.
Craig's over with the gathering of suits in their suit area. Looks about as happy to be surrounded by these people as someone who is not happy to be surrounded by these people. Just
These
kind of
people are equally confused because they didn't realize Craig was in the influence coterie.
like just around the Ventru, and it's like, this is where I'm supposed to be, around the Ventru.
Now you're supposed to stand around your coterie, not your clan, in this
Oh,
particular.
really? This particular
Yep.
one?
Yep.
All right, awesome. So I guess Craig will go be with them then.
Caesar will wave. Caesar.
Adam will come in. He'll kind of smile and probably make his way over to the influence people.
When he joins the influence people, there's some hushed gossiping as Craig is leaving them. A couple catty remarks about if he even knows where he's supposed to be right now.
Ooh.
They're met with a mixture of either intent listening or rolled eyes, depending on the individual listening.
Caesar will go over to Craig and present his hand. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's nice to see you too. And he'll shake Caesar's hand.
And just to be sure, the difference was there a difference between the social and influence? If I remember correctly, the influence is specifically kindred, and the social is for the humanity, right?
The influence coterie deals with human relations. The diplomacy coterie is dealing with other kindred.
Okay. Then, all right, yeah. Then Craig should be, yeah, because I'm part of the influence then as well, because we're dealing with. Yeah, Caesar will say, did you hear the news about our first real plan of attack with the humans?
Yes, in fact, I did.
Good.
Go. Okay. Go bother them.
Yeah.
See them? See them over there? Go bother them.
Yeah. He simply nods and he'll leave.
After a while, once everyone is sort of trickled in and taken their spaces with their respective coteries, the prince and the seneschal will stay where they are, sort of almost looking like an audience to this spectacle, as the neonate liaison stands up. The Keeper of Elysium will join her. And she says, "It is my great honor to start off this Elysium tonight by announcing the purpose of it. In the past month or so, each of you has been assigned to gather with the coterie of your choosing, each headed by a particular kindred who had already shown proficiency in the field that you wish to pursue. I hope that during this time, each of you have thought about your plan of attack. And not only that, but also thought about how your coterie and your skill sets can help this city grow and prosper. The prince and the seneschal, each of them look forward to hearing your proposals, as do I. Do we have any volunteers on who would like to go first?
All eyes on Crag.
Yeah, Craig just kind of knows what's going to happen and steps forward. And waits for his proper time to speak when he is so acknowledged by those above him.
She'll smile up at him and gesture for him to join her on stage.
Craig does so.
Please, if you will, introduce yourself to the court. Which coterie are you representing tonight?
Specifically war, ma'am. For those of you who do not already know who I am, my name is Craig Ainsworth. I'm sorry. My name is Craig Ainsworth of Clan Ventrue. Currently, I'm part of the war coterie. Our general plan of attack is to reach out to known business interests in the nightlife section of Manhattan, which some of you may have heard is a popular target for Sabbat attacks. We don't quite know what their motivations for these are, just that these are things that they tend to attack. We intend, barring any information on persons or places that are sensitive to our opponents, to set one of their favored targets up, lure as many as we can in, and then launch our own trap retaliation for the event that led to at least 100 dead people not that long ago, this past month. I'm very confident that we can set the building. I'm very confident that we can set the people. But this is just a general plan to catch as many of them off guard as possible. What we really want from the information coterie is persons that are important to them, locations that are important to them, places that we can see for ourselves and then attack at a time of our choosing. That concludes the plan going forward for the war coterie.
Yeah.
She'll nod. I see, so you wish to set up traps for the Sabbat. Have you any experience battling with them in the past?
Some. Generally, they travel in numbers as low as 5. The highest I've seen personally was something like 10 or 12. A lot of them, just from what I can see, are either very experienced or inexperienced. I haven't seen anything in between in my encounters with them. And in the case of the inexperienced, they're actually fairly easy to take on. Most of them don't even seem to understand what they are, really what they're doing, past causing as much trouble as possible. With the experienced ones, from what I've seen, it always seems like they will be in a place where they have a very specific idea of what they're doing in mind. They have something they're going for. And when they can't get that, they tend to either run off or if they think they can win, stick it out.
And how does the coterie plan on dealing with the sheer numbers that they tend to hit with?
In the event that we find ourselves overwhelmed, we are going to have to make use of other servants, people who are attached to us, to seal the building, and when we exit, burn it down with them inside. Very tragic arson situation, but does get rid of them. It's not ideal, but It is pretty much the last hitch in the case that people like Rex and myself can't just kill them out of hand. They are not very tough, the newer ones.
I see that you're already planning on the offensive, but what about on the defensive? Do you have plans for assisting in protecting the rest of the Camarilla?
In terms of protecting the rest of the Camarilla, we cannot be places if we do not know they are coming. I hate to put so much pressure on the information coterie. I hate to put so much pressure on all of the other coteries. But if we do not know where they are headed, we cannot be there to face off with them. We need to know these things. All of us have ways of getting around. All of us can be where we're needed to be. All of us are going to be equipped. But if we don't know, we may as well be running in circles.
I see. Is there anything else you would like to add or propose for the rest of the court?
Stay alert, stay armed, stay in small groups. Don't be caught alone. That's all I have.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Ainsworth, for your presentation.
A light smattering of applause from the Toreador part of the room.
And having been so excused, Craig exits stage left and goes back to his group.
Yeah, fuck the Sabbat.
Indeed. Is there anybody who would like to follow up Mr. Ainsworth's presentation?
Adam will raise his hand.
She'll gesture for him to join her on stage.
Adam will make his way towards the stage. Hello, my name is Adam Priestley of Clan Toreador. I have agreed to help with the influence. And for what we have gathered, my plan is this. There are a lot of individuals who control a fair bit of what happens in New York proper. You have people who, the bigwigs, where money typically flows and where it ends up. My plan is that if we can sort of create a monopoly on those endeavors, we'll be able to move more efficiently. I have already set up some of the groundwork for throwing a big gala in which we invite a few individuals out to better insert ourselves in those high society and those high political spheres so we can better assist the Camarilla. Of course, with such an endeavor and a whole lot of Camarilla who are more socially aspected, Adam will turn towards Craig. It is my wish to work with the War Council so they would be very aware of what we're doing and what the plan is thus far, if they would agree to help.
She'll look towards Craig.
Craig doesn't look like he's particularly objecting, but like a lot of people listening to a presentation, he is listening to the presentation instead of interrupting this guy while he's under the spotlight.
He will just continue on the presentation. If there's any real objection, it'll just be shown momentarily. First of all, there are a few members in the influence community that have a lot of connections, and I myself am willing to put out some feelers for more for more of a prospect. The basic idea is that the more people we can insert ourselves in, the better off we'll be.
I see. Do you have any particular targets that you're scoping out at the moment?
The one that I'm really concentrating on currently is the transportation and high society fields. A lot of New Yorkers tend to get around through public transportation. If we're able to cut things off, reroute things, and make things inaccessible otherwise without going through an extreme amount of paperwork, legwork, and red tape, things move efficiently. Being able to cut off whole sections of street, it would be able to make sure that things or high target places become more than just inconveniences, but outright nightmares to maneuver. High society thus far is if money talks, and excuse my language, bullshit walks, and if you have enough money, more people are definitely willing to listen. And being that the kind have a habit of being, those of those upper echelons have a habit of being overly decadent, they seem to be quite easy to maneuver around, given the right words and the right things said.
I see. So you mentioned something about a gala that you were looking on throwing.
Correct.
Tell us more about that.
The gala I planned on holding in the Met Theater. The Met Theater is large enough where it wouldn't seem very hard for individuals to feel like too many individuals were being herded in one location. It's an out and open. I planned on having it in a place where individuals will be able to move easily through social circles without drawing too much attention.
Is there anything that your coterie requires from the Camarilla at large to make this happen for you?
The more people have in for it and the more people that are willing to back this endeavor, the more fruitful it will be. So those that are willing to support this endeavor, I'll be more within your debt. I myself would not expect nothing, so the favors that I am owed, I am definitely willing to put on the table to support the effort.
She'll nod.
He will, if there are any questions, please.
Craig politely raises his hand.
Sir?
So you're saying that either you or one of your associates is going to be behind this gala?
Correct.
What are your plans to keep this from becoming another massacre?
The plan is this, that, with the help of the War Council, if they're willing to assist, it wouldn't just be us. That seems a little bit too presumptuous. Again, are you willing to help?
As a member of the Camarilla, it is my sworn duty to help you in your endeavors against the Sabbat.
The more we're able to meet with you, we could probably hammer out a more concrete objective and maybe meet with the chef. I believe the chef is heading up the War Council. I'm pretty sure he'll have some more ideas, and I'd be more than willing to listen to his narrative and what he plans on doing. the more people working together, the more fruitful the endeavor.
While I myself cannot speak for the sheriff, I do not imagine that he will find this objectionable.
Does anyone have a question?
Alfred raises his hand, sort of, and very politely awaits to be addressed.
He'll nod in this direction.
Yes, I have one question. This gala is an endeavor on our city's part to make friends in the right places. Without meaning to sound mercenary, how much freedom will we have as individual members of the court to move among the kind and perhaps make a few friends of our own?
He smiles. If you're so inclined to make this endeavor, and you are able to do such things without drawing unnecessary attention to yourself, you'll smile at him. By all means.
He sort of nods his head, sort of gives a very, very slight incline to the rest of the court before handing back to Adam.
Adam will smile, noticing what just happened. Looking to see if he can be excused from the podium.
The innate liaison will nod. Thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Presley.
Thank you.
Always exciting to see what you have planned. And she'll wink.
He will blush and make his way to his seat.
Well, I certainly hope that the bar has not been set too high. But who would like to go next?
Alfred Ansel steps out from his corner of the room and very unimposingly takes the podium. He sort of looks quite fondly at everybody, trying not to give away the fact that he didn't know that he was meant to be doing this tonight. And sort of, my prince, my seneschal, assembled kindred. I represent the diplomacy coterie, and I think when considering the notion of diplomacy, one of the most important questions that one may ask oneself, two questions, I suppose. What do I need, and what do the people I'm entreating with need, and what can we give each other therein? It is my aim to make myself known to sects outside of our city. Of course, we'll begin with our allied Camarilla cities in the surrounding states. However, Camarilla courts are fantastic for drumming up support, maybe the odd piece of influence. They're certainly good with the right relations for bolstering the numbers of a war coterie, say. Which, of course, I will be liaising with Mr. Ainsworth upon. However, I do have something of an interest of those outside of our sect. To a greater or less degree, we already know what we may expect from those within our own sect, but those outside can offer something unique to the table. An advantage that might not be enjoyed by our enemy. To this end, I would seek out local cabals of Giovanni and, well, with, of course, the court's permission, Stetites. He sort of looks uncomfortable at saying the word and kind of glances around as if awaiting for somebody to like throw something heavy at him. Or sort of he glances at the oh gosh, I've forgotten her name. Apologies. Shelby.
Who is it? The harpy?
Is it the Harpy who's organising this? I came in late.
The neonate liaison.
That's what we're calling a Harpy these days. Interesting. Yes, he sort of glances at her for comments or because this is possibly quite a divisive subject of where one might expect support. So he sort of glances at her to see if there are any qualms.
She is watching politely. If you'd like, you can try a perception empathy on her.
I would love that.
Wasn't it also publicly announced the Statites have disappeared?
From this city? Oh, is it? Hang on, is this game-wide disappearance?
Yeah.
Yeah, boss, they're not here no more.
Wait, but hang on a minute. I feel like I've missed the fundamental canon. Are they...
So recently, the followers of Set in their entirety disappeared, and there was a lot of rummaging around their temples and mystery going on. There might be individuals here who have something to say about the Setites, but overall, as far as common Camarilla knowledge, they gone.
If this is common knowledge, may I roll to retract my previous sentiment? Because I didn't know that.
Oh, you don't have to roll if you just didn't know OOC.
Apologies. Yeah, no, obviously I had no idea. Yeah, no. In that case, he will finish upon Giovanni, kind of testing the waters.
You'll make
I
that
will roll
perception empathy roll, though.
Oh yeah, definitely gonna do that. Holy shit! That's 4 successes. If it's a lower difficulty, it's 5.
You noticed she gifted slightly, and there was probably a bit of a twitch upwards of an eyebrow as she was listening to your proposal. She doesn't seem enraged or anything. Maybe a little intrigued?
Adam will politely raise his hand.
Polite incline of the head.
What do you plan on using for collateral to bargain with?
Well, of course, that's pending approval. Indeed, as you say, money talks, and we are not, I assume, without our means of economic lubrication. However, I think more interestingly is what we can offer them in terms of our friendship. Now, of course, those outside of our Camarilla do not abide by the boon system. That is not to say they cannot be bargained with and reasoned with. Being that, of course, the Giovanni, seeing as they are who we are talking about, being that Giovanni are indeed a cabal, from what I understand, of either bankers or necromancers, I'm sure that there is some bargain that may be struck. After all, we have money and we are, if you don't mind my saying, dead. His dry humor seems to fall flat upon the room.
Adam will say a suggestion, if you take it. There are some members of the Giovanni family. They have a certain way of being impeccably dressed. And there are some people who are very skilled in such endeavors. So if perhaps you could probably use that as some way of a leverage.
You assume that when I entreat the Italians that free fitting is not the first port of call.
I mean, I've never seen a poor looking Giovanni, but that's me.
He laughs toreadorily. Of course, our bargaining chips will require further negotiation, I'm sure, with, well, and he glances towards the Prince and the Seneschal. Those a little more inclined to make such decisions. Now, that does raise the question of protection in travel. There is it's no simple matter, as I'm sure we're all aware, to move to different cities, let alone different states. I may require some aid from perhaps those who are slightly more influential than me in the city, or perhaps those with a slightly more working knowledge of guarding one's person. Once again, glances at the war coterie and at the influence coterie. But I'm sure we can reach some sort of accord.
Craig raises a hand.
Yes, sir.
Have you considered contracting the Assamites?
He sort of grimaces a little bit, very imperceptibly, but the thought had occurred to me, yes. However, their reputation does precede them, and I suppose you might ask the question, we already have one chaotic element in our city. We need to ask ourselves if it might be worth bringing another. However, that doesn't mean they're not worth at least speaking to. You can roll a perception empathy on that if you like. You don't have to.
Okay.
Was there anything further of your inquiry? Are you perhaps...
Not particularly.
Interesting. Perception empathy to see if there is more to that. Like if this guy's a secret Assamite or something.
Okay. I got one success on mine.
Oh, when he says when he mentions speaking to the Assamites, he gulps slightly.
And in terms of your perception and empathy.
Oh, I'm just rolling it now. I'm a little bit of a...
Okay. Let me oh, you put the R in the wrong place, dude.
Oh, shit.
It's all right.
Oh no successes. Oh.
Hmm?
No, I had a 1 cancelled out 6.
Yep. No successes. Craig is implacable.
He sort of thinks to himself that like he hates intriguing with Ventrue. They're all too inscrutable.
I have a question for you regarding your proposal.
Please.
Are you familiar with the promise of 1528?
Oh shit! Is that quite obscure knowledge? Because I know what that is, but
that'll be
roll
intelligent kindred lore. Difficulty, let's do 7.
I would like to make this roll as well for shits and gigs.
Absolutely. Anyone who heard the phrase promise of 1528 can roll.
Oh, did we get kindred lore free character creation? Save me opening my sheet.
Yeah, you should have started with 2 dots of kindred lore.
I know what that is. Ha ha ha.
Difficulty 7, yeah? Okay, yeah, I've got a 10. I've got a success on that.
I got 2.
Those of you, you are also good little history students. Your sires must be proud.
He nods, sort of like, yes, of course.
For those of you who succeeded, the promise of 1528 was a treaty between the Camarilla and the Giovanni. The important part that everybody was taught about it is that the necromancers and the Camarilla are to uphold a non-interference pact with each other. Pact with a T.
He nods and sort of, well, yes, of course. And I realize our traditions and our word is what defines us. However, it would not be the first time the Camarilla have entreated the help of the Giovanni, or vice versa. And whilst we may have not have an interference we may have a non-interference policy with one another. That rule has historically been liberal when applied to the Sabbat. However, I would never go forth with any such interaction without the express permission of my elders.
I simply wanted to make sure that you were aware of the treaty, as it would do us significantly more harm than good if we were to do anything against that treaty.
And how would you define? Oh, please.
You must understand that with the Giovanni, while it is quite easy to invite them in, it's much more difficult to push them out.
Yes, of course. I would, to that end, further elaborate to say that we are not without Tremere in this city. Those who understand powers of the blood in a more intimate way than any of us could. If such a plan were to go ahead, I would expect that they might want to be involved to prevent any such lingering from our Italian fellows. He stands composed, hoping that he's hoping that he's answered the question.
She'll nod. She doesn't seem to have anything else to say about it specifically.
In that case, if but one further thing I would entreat with, if it was possible to do so, the Seneschal, to discuss with them which nearby Camarilla cities would be more amenable to aiding our cause. Thank you. He bows very slightly from the waist to the Seneschal, to the Prince, before very quickly leaving the stage, returning back to where he was stood.
And it is to my knowledge that the members of the information gathering coterie were unable to make Elysium. She'll pause for a moment. So I'm afraid we've no public proposal on record for them. However, if anybody would like to make specific requests for the information gathering coterie, or offers to provide them with anything, you may do so now, and I will ensure that the message is received.
Craig steps forward. The War Coterie requests a list of known havens and persons, both kindred and kind, important to the Sabbat effort at large.
Duly noted. Is there anything that the influence or the diplomacy coteries would like to request?
A suggestion? Adam raises his hand.
Please.
Perhaps finding out their feeding habits would be a step in the right direction. I know that certain members of the Camarilla have very preferred ways of feeding, but from what I've seen that day, it seems to be a bit erratic. If we can size it down, or perhaps even figure out how they're going about it. It could be a boon. We could set traps more efficiently.
She nods. She has pulled out a small notebook and is writing this down. And from the diplomacy coterie.
As per the request already stated, I was asked to speak with the Seneschal for their recommendation on which nearby cities would be amenable to coming to our cause. Other than that, pertaining to the information coterie, there's one thing I've learned, it's that men talk to their tailors. I would like to make the information provided by my employees in my storefront, if it is pertinent, to be made available to them.
Duly noted.
And that he sort of before he sort of thinks for a moment before saying, there is nothing further for the moment, but I will, if I think of anything, shall I come to you? Yes, no. Shelby? Can anyone hear me?
We're fine. Yeah, she's thinking.
So I've hallucinated this whole session. But he steps back with nothing further to add. I think we might have lost Shelby.
It's possible. I won't leave it with dead air. With that, Adam will make his way over to his friend the tailor. And sort of hunch down next to him.
Who's he approaching?
He's approaching you.
Oh, sorry, Taylor. I thought it was a name. Sorry. Yeah, he sort of smiles at you politely and.
Sorry, my internet cut out for a second there.
Oh, hey, boss.
It's fine. He would say that if you need any help, my door is always open.
Vice versa. You still have to come for a suit fitting.
Of course. I have to look my best. And he'll smile. And
Like in the public eye.
and with that, he will scurry away back to his seat. Back to you, Shelby.
Scurry, my man.
The liaison will take a look around. And for a moment, meeting the gazes of each of those who have spoken, she will say, "Then I suppose that concludes our official announcement for the Elysium. You'll know that shortly the Harpy will be sending out any announcements that are of any relevance, as well as the date and, if necessary, the location of our next Elysium. As I call this Elysium to a close, please feel free to continue to mingle for the night. Myself and the Keeper of Elysium will stay here until each kindred has seen themselves out. Thank you all." And you will bow. And the prince and the seneschal, talking quietly amongst themselves, will take their leave.
I wanted to speak to those guys. Is that not going to happen now?
What's your rank again? Are you a neonate?
Oh yeah, I'm a neonate. Like that's the issue. But I need recommendations from somebody for which city to go to, and the Seneschal's usually who you speak to about that kind of thing. I'm from London. I'm new.
You can give me a wits etiquette roll.
Okay. I think that's 4. Oh, thank Christ. Okay, that's 2 successes.
Okay. There is nothing physically stopping you from going to talk to the prince and the seneschal. However, as a neonate, you're expected to only approach other neonates and Ancilla.
Yeah.
The only elder that you're allowed to talk to first is the neonate liaison.
In that case, I shall speak with her liaison. So, unless there's any other business. But,
No, you can approach her if you want.
excellent. He approaches her.
She'll take a look up from her little device she was scribbling notes on. Yes?
Good evening. Such is the situation that I will actually need to go out and speak to other kindred at some point. I am not from around here, and I'm unfamiliar with the lay of the land beyond this city, more or less. I would need some recommendations as to where to head first.
Well, there are quite a few Camarilla locations nearby. I'm sure if you could locate a Nosferatu, they may be able to give you more precise or up-to-date information. But as I recall, ourselves and the city of Philadelphia have a fairly upstanding relationship with each other.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. If you'd like, you can roll perception empathy on her.
Okay. I've got I've one of my merits. I get reduced difficulty on perception empathy. Can double check that quickly.
Oh, which merit is it?
I've completely forgotten the name of it, which is terrible, I realise. But bear with me, I'm just going to check my sheet.
Okay.
Good sense of character.
Gotcha. You're not really assessing her character right now. At one success, she's kind of looking at you expectantly.
Expectantly. Ah, shit.
Mm-hmm.
He stops before he walks away and is there something further you require from me?
She raises her eyebrows. Oh no, not at all. If you'd like, you can roll let's do perception subterfuge.
Maybe my core game's a little rusty, but I can't work this out, man. Like, it's what I don't know what I've done. She'd like expecting more, I suppose. Oh, that's more like it. Come on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Is just saying thank you really enough? Is there perhaps something that Camarilla members like?
Oh shit. 101, Kens. 101. Yes. Well, in that case, good evening. Thank you. Is she, she's an elder or an ancilla? Out of interest.
She's an elder.
Ah. Yes. In that case, good evening. Thank you, my elder.
That boon game.
That boom, no.
At 5 successes, you should probably listen to them, OOC.
Rescind what?
Boons. You got
Boons.
information from someone else, therefore you should offer them a boon.
Boons.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, for fuck's sake, Jesus. Sorry, guys, it's been a really long fucking day. Now, you understand the boon economy better than I do, naturally. However, would
she's suddenly listening. She's
Pardon me?
suddenly very attentive. He's suddenly very attentive when you mention the boon game.
Is there something I can offer you as thanks? Perhaps a trivial boon? Or perhaps minor? It's your judge of the currency, of course.
She's smiling faintly. Whichever you feel is appropriate of my services.
Pardon me?
Whichever you feel is appropriate.
Okay, I'm going to roll etiquette. I'm not going to Google something. That's a success.
It's probably trivial boon worthy, but you know what really makes elders like you?
And I've insulted her. Well, minor, of course. And he extends a card from his pocket, this beautifully upholstered card, hoping to save some face. And sort of passes it to her and says, should you require anything from me, then please do give me a call.
She'll take it and slip it into her purse. Of course. I'm always happy to help.
Good evening, my elder. He steps the fuck away.
Good evening. And you'll see her sort of calmly meander her way over to the harpy. There's a quick little exchange.
Fucking cool.
Caesar will walk over to Adam and say, that was a good start.
He'll give him a polite thumbs up. How have you been?
I've been doing okay. Things have been getting better for me recently.
I'm happy to hear that.
Thank you.
Sam, what's your character's name? Terrible with names.
Alfred Ansel.
Okay. I want to introduce you to someone. Since seems like we'll be running in the same arena soon.
Is he talking to me, or are you talking to the other chap?
Neither. And he's going to set up an introduction.
He glances over at Adam as he approaches. With even a faint success on a perception empathy check, you'd see that he's like, if he could be sweating, he might be.
All right.
And he sort of turns to Adam. Adam, twice in one evening. How blessed.
He'll smile. This is my associate Caesar of Clan Nosferatu.
He'll turn to him and incline his head. Said, you had a very interesting proposal.
Yeah, sort of inclines his head back very politely. As well. Thank you very much. Caesar, wasn't it? Alfred Ansel, pleasure. He extends his hand.
Yeah, and Caesar extends his hand. Since we're being formal about this, my name would be Caesar Avlis Devlin. So, Doctors, Caesar Devlin.
A pleasure. How long have you been in for then?
About a few years, close to half a decade, probably a bit longer. I try not to keep track of the time too much.
suppose it's so easy to let the time run away with oneself. We live in the dark. So, how is it that you and Adam know one another then, other than being members of the same corps?
I've been keeping to myself lately these days.
Oh, don't be so shy, Caesar. You came to one of my opening art exhibits. You came with, I believe her name is Kali. Black Opal, right? Golly, I'm fucked up with names today.
If you guys want to roll such empathy, like he raises his brow. Let's look into it if you don't want to.
Oh. Blarg. 3 successes.
It's not that he's offended. That he's surprised that a Nosferatu came to one of your galas. They're not known for being outgoing, and our clans aren't known for being particularly friendly. So
Adam, he catches it, and he says, "Well, it's one thing to stereotypes are indeed one thing, but however, having allies and people that are well in your corner can be beneficial."
He sort of nods appraisingly, licking the Nosferatu up and down. And are you a resourceful man?
Yeah, I like to think I am.
Well, as you clearly heard my proposal, you might be aware that I'm in need of a resourceful gentleman. I need to make some friends, some nearby cities.
Well,
and I will need a point of contact with which to enter, particularly Philadelphia. But also, I might need some help locating other kindred and cities that are sympathetic to a Sabbat invasion.
Unfortunately, I couldn't say that I have a strong influence in our community like that, but I do have an understanding of people, and given enough time, I could possibly weed something out for us.
Well, you see, sadly, I require something somewhat more tangible in this moment. Might it be that a member of your clan might know the people I require to meet? He sort of nods suggestively, like, we know how this game goes. Come on, we play this back home. Come on with it.
And Caesar will kind of incline his head. I'm a mere neonate. I don't have the power to move that. I can merely suggest and ask. My sire is connected with the blood trade in New York. She may know ways to get you in there, but and he kind of hesitates for a moment. I haven't spoken to her in quite some time.
Perception, empathy on your feelings, on your sire. Beetle away at all your personal secrets. 3 successes.
It hurts when he brings her up. It is.
Alfred looks sympathetic, almost professionally so. Well, certainly seen that look before. Not uncommon. Do you think it would be impossible for you to meet with her? I would, of course, pay for the privilege, and who knows? Maybe it could be time to put whatever it is between you to right.
It's for the Camarilla, so I'll put my professional honor into account. I will not let our grievances be in the way of our prosperity. I will talk to her as soon as I can.
Excellent. Thank you very much. He sort of glances him up and down and sort of thinks, here's an introduction. Sort of, I'll give you a trivial boon, perhaps to be extended to your coterie.
And he'll nod to that. I appreciate that. Though I must ask, why the Giovanni? Why not the Assamites, or, if we want to be desperate, absolutely desperate, the Ravnos with the Caitiffs?
Caitiffs, not in this city, I think. He doesn't say that word with an air of bad taste, but he kind of, the implications are there with the word caitiff. So carries on and he says, caitiff, not in this city, I feel. As for the Ravnos, well, it was said of the Giovanni that once you invite them in, it's hard to make them leave. One does not simply invite a Ravnos into a Camarilla city. And besides, Ravnos are hard to track down. Giovanni are businessmen. They may have a no interference policy, but there's one thing the Camarilla does well, it's business. As for why not the Assamites, well, the Assamites remain to be seen. I have to speak to the leader of the war coterie for that. He doesn't particularly hide the fact that he looks a bit anxious about talking to Assamites. They've got a reputation for diabolizing people, for fuck's sake. Not so much anymore, but you know what I mean.
I also hear that the Assamites are good to their word, and they have a very strict sense of honor. If we truly want to be as mercenary about dealing with Sabata as possible, we should then get mercenaries. But that's just me.
Well, you make a valid point. I'll see if I can locate the Assamites. Of course, once again, this may be something I need to speak to your sire about.
They're going to want blood, and that's not going to be easy to get. But again, I will make sure to speak to my sire and see if we can arrange something. Though I must say, the price may proceed farther than a trivial boon if this becomes a true notion.
It's we speak of the price. Well, one can always negotiate a price.
Yeah. He nods to that. I'll make sure.
Oh no! Sorry, I thought you were finished. Please carry on.
So I'll make sure if something were to change, if the deal were to change, to make sure to inform you and give you time.
Most kind of you.
It's only the proper way to do business.
Nods and he takes out a business card and extends it to you. It's Ansel and Sons. It's a tailor's on the Lower East Side of Manhattan.
He takes it, and he'll actually go into his pocket and give you his business card. It says, Dr. Devlin said private psychology.
Private psychology. Huh. Indeed. Doctor of psychology. You may know people almost as well as a tailor or a barber.
I do hear a lot of secrets.
Adam. Oh, sorry. He sort of was Adam about to say something, or did I just cut you off?
Adam looks. It's more of a amused look watching you two, watching something play out, and sort of like a mini drama, just watching like it unfold before him. And he just stands back and watches it.
Still turns to you and says, and, what about the great facilitator then?
He looks and he says, when you go to Philadelphia, I like having company. It'd be okay for me to come, wouldn't it? Thank you.
Reads it.
Says,
No, just gonna. I'm not empathy tonight, but I'm just checking. Nothing. He gets nothing. He gets nothing and moves on. Well, yes, of course. Company would be more than appreciated. Although your profile is rather high. Do you travel? Do you travel with? He sort of tries to phrase it delicately, and then he says, "Like, do you travel easily with your position?"
he smiles and chuckles and says, I'm able.
Excellent. Well, in that case, perhaps we should all the three of us call it a date to perhaps meet with your sire. How would you feel about that, Doctor?
He simply nods.
Excellent. Well, in that case, please get back to me regarding when is appropriate to meet and if appropriate to meet, and we shall set something up.
Will do.
Adam will excuse himself from the assembled folks and make his way over to Mr. Ainsworth and Rex.
As far as I know, they're still there.
Mm-hmm.
He'll say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Still alive.
That's good. Shakes his hand.
For like the second or third time tonight. Craig engages in a handshake.
Why does this look so painful for you? He smiles.
Painful isn't exactly the word.
Uncomfortable.
It is what it is. What do you need?
Just being social.
Keep in touch. Let me know the exact when and where these circumstances surrounding your gala. Me and my people will appear.
He'll smile. And a head tilt and a smile handshake to Rex. Congratulations.
He'll firmly take Adam's hand and give it a shake and say, "Thank you."
You need that.
Where is... Okay, here we are. Second to load. There we go. Yeah, I'm not manip subbing. He's not hiding it.
Okay. So basically, I was saying you can peony me because there's something that's very obvious on Adam's face.
Alrighty. Let's see how this goes. Hey! Holy shit! Got 1 success.
He's impressed. It's genuine.
Rex is trying to take the compliment gracefully,
Mhm.
but the thank you is about the best he can do. But ultimately segues into it's been a good hustle, and yeah.
He chuckles. Oh wow. You guys don't do compliments much, huh?
Nope. I give better than I take.
Right. Now that we've made this sufficiently awkward, he will just say, I will gracefully bow out.
And once Adam steps away, Craig looks at Rex. You got anything you need to do here?
Nope. Everything's at home. I gotta talk to my boy Matt. I gotta get the boys together. Talk about that thing we was talking about.
Yeah, I kind of figured. I appreciate it.
That's what we do.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot I'm gonna get done here either. Let's get out of here.
And Rex does a sniffle and thumbs his nose for a moment, looks around and gives him the nod, makes a move for the door.
Alrighty. Is there anything anyone else would like to do?
No. Nope.
Then I'd say with that, we can end our scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene for Living World of Darkness Vampire.